Hi, my name is Samantha Fernandez, and our group was assigned to explain the use and connect of mathematical representation. Well, what is a mathematical representation, you ask? The following definition states, mathematics education researchers define the notion of representation as any sign, character, and objective that stands for something other than itself, and that is used to symbolize, describe, depict, encode, and/or represent mathematical concept and processes. Basically, this fancy definition means any example used to help solve the math problem is a representation. What is the purpose of the mathematical representation? Well, representations are a clear indicator to see if a child is understanding the concept that is being taught. It also can show a student's prior knowledge of math to see their representation being used, like base 10 blocks or counter chips for adding and subtracting with negative numbers. I feel that this class this semester really had an emphasis on why mathematical representations are so important. Like I said, it's a clear indicator to see if the child is understanding a concept, and it can also be used to reflect on how they got there. It's another tool for students to connect the material being taught and a way for them to critically think about how they solve the problem. By having a child use representation, it also challenges them to be able to explain their thought process when the teacher asks them how they did the problem. I included a picture of manipulatives that can be used as a representation in pre-K or kindergarten grades, since those are the grades I would really like to teach one day. This is a great way to get children interactive with representations so that they are comfortable using this throughout their math career. As you can see in the picture, it shows the number 7, how to use it in a 10 frame. Another way to show it would be tally marks. You could draw a picture, and there's a picture of hands with the number 7 and the number line of how it would go on 0 through 10. There's number 7. So those are all different ways to show mathematical representation, and it's a great way to sit down and have a conversation with his child if you want to assess how they're doing without making it feel like an assessment. Up next, Courtney is going to discuss why teachers use mathematical representation and give you multiple examples. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Courtney. Connecting mathematical representations for teachers include manipulatives, models, 5 and 10 frames, diagrams, number lines, tables, graphs, and area/visual models. For an example, a teacher could say, after reflecting on your experience using the base 10 blocks, did you notice that we can combine 10 ones to make 110? Did you make your place value mat a little more friendly to the eye? Visual aids are certainly very important to a teacher that they could have in their classrooms. Relationships are formed by these examples and help teachers by selecting assignments that allow the students to decide which representations to use in making sense of problems, assigning time for students to use, discuss, and make connection among representations, and then lastly, asking students to make math drawings or use other visual supports to explain and justify their reasoning. These are all teachers' examples. Thank you. Caitlin will be talking next.
So, students, when they use and connect mathematical representations, they are using mathematical applications into real-world situations. An example is of a student who is going shopping for a new sweater, and that sweater is 50% off of the original price. And because that student has learned the math concept in the past, that student now knows how to calculate what the price of the new sweater will be. They also create diagrams or pictures to make sense of the story problem that helps them to understand math concepts more fully. Many times students are visual learners, and so the math concept doesn't make sense to them until they see it drawn out in picture form. This helps them to understand the math problem they are working or calculating more fully. They will also make choices about what types of representation they can use as tools to solve these math problems. Representations in mathematics include actions such as drawing diagrams or creating ratios, or even when using multiplication or division. When students are able to fully make the connections in regards to which math ideas can be solved in which form, then the student will more fully understand and they can comprehend the math concept that is being taught to them by the teacher.
And now Cassie will be speaking.
So why is all this so important? Well, there are various mathematical representations that teachers can teach that benefit the student, so it's super crucial for teachers to use. Number one, mathematical representations are visible and tangible. So this really helps the students actually see what they're doing and visually picture what is going on in the problem. Secondly, mathematical representations can really help communicate the students' ideas. When teachers ask students to communicate their ideas through drawings, it can help them really understand the problem better. And as well as teachers, it's important for teachers to find what the student is strong at by allowing them to pick their own representations based on what they're comfortable with and really what they understand. And lastly, incorporating mathematical representations allows students to be engaged in representing the problem. Students just are more engaged when they're drawing and physically representing what's going on in the problem. So these are just a few reasons why this is such an important thing that teachers need to incorporate in schools.
Hi, this is Sam again. Here is our works cited page. Thank you so much for listening and watching our presentation.